Welcome back, guys, to the Full Force Fathers Podcast, episode 63. As I come on air, I am laughing, and Dave is also laughing because my wife just came in and berated me for a little bit. Because, as you all know, we're back in Arizona, but we are not fully, totally unboxed, packed everywhere. So we're just kind of makeshifting my studio. And right now, for the third week in a row, I'm in the girls' bedroom because it's the only quiet corner of the house. And she goes, "Could you at least turn the desk around?" I'm like, "Oh boy." So that's why I'm laughing, and Dave was laughing. He goes, "Man, Andine's in a good mood today." So, if those that don't know, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show. Andine and Dave are very much the same person. They hate people and they're angry all the time. So, so it works out well.
Fair point.
But anyways, Dave, how you doing today? Episode 63. What's going on, man?
I'm doing great. My dad's in town right now for vacation, so life couldn't be better.
That's good. Your dad's in town, and today is Caroline's birthday. So
happy birthday to Caroline.
To my middle child. She is the epitome of a middle child, and it's a big one. She's 10. She's hit the double digits. So 10's a big day. I remember last week her telling me, "Hey, Dad, guess what? In 7 more days, I'm going to be double digits." She goes to me. I said, "Oh, boy, here we go."
That's wild.
Caroline,
it's amazing, man, how fast it goes by. Double digits. And you got a teenager on the other end. You got a teenager coming too in a couple months. So
yeah, Madison will be 13 here. Madison will be 13 in August, so just a couple months away. She's the beginning of August too. Yeah. So, and we're almost to June. So, June, July, first week of August, she'll be a teenager. Which just goes by, like you said, it just goes so fast because it just doesn't make any sense how I am the father of a 10-year-old and a soon-to-be 13-year-old, and you'll have a 10-year-old this summer as well. So
I will. Yep.
It's crazy to say the least, but but here we are, dude. Episode 60. We got a lot of things to talk about. But happy birthday to Caroline first and foremost. Happy Memorial Day as well. It's a good day. It's a good day. So let's hop in here, and we got a bunch of topics we're going to touch on today. It's kind of going to be like a variety show type episode, but let's jump in with our famous number 63s. Dave, you put the list together. You start us off.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I knew any of these people except for one on the NFL list before I did the research. So, Leroy Selman, Mike Munchak, Willie Lanier. A lot of offensive linemen in this sort of category of numbers. And Jeff Saturday, he's the one that I knew. I worked with him at ESPN. Now, is he still the coach of the Colts? Do they keep him on board? I think they did.
No, he's not the head coach.
He was interim. Anymore. No? He's out already?
No, he's not the head coach anymore.
Okay. That's too bad. Well, he had a little stint as head coach.
Yeah, he was. But they hired that young kid. Another young kid. That's the trend in the NFL now, is hiring all these 35, 38-year-old kids. His name is, I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly, but it's Shane Steichen, Steichen. Born in 1985, so he's younger than you.
Wow, that's impressive. He's got an NFL head coaching job. That's cool. Couple guys what's that?
His education. I'm looking at his bio right now. It says born in 85. He's 38 years old in Sacramento, California. Coach of the Colts. Education, Oak Ridge High School. So there you go, guys. You can be an NFL coach with a high school education. So
there you go. That's all you need. A couple NHL guys on the list that stood out. The first, though, is the one that I actually knew, Boston Bruin, Brad Marchand. Yep. I remember him from a couple of the days that I turned in and watch hockey. So he's there. And then Mike Ribeiro. Don't really know who that is. I've heard the name, but I couldn't tell you who he played for. And then the NBA had one that wore the number 63 for 3 games in 2016. And his name is Cody Clark. Never heard of him? I'm not surprised.
Can we just not put people on the list if this is what it is?
I know. This is a pretty bad number. This might be the worst number.
I don't think so, because you got Jeff Saturday and Brad Marchand, so I don't think it's the worst.
Pretty bad.
But it's up there for sure. Absolutely.
Can we get to the 80s to the wide receiver numbers, please?
Yeah.
Wide receivers, tight ends, it's gonna be. And then you hit the 90s. We at least got some defensive ends. Those will be good.
Yeah, and you have some good. I think you have some good hockey players in the 90s too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
should be there. Yeah.
the ultimate is Gretzky at 99, but there will be I'm pretty sure a few hockey players in there. But anyway, so Bible verse. So I did this differently today because this Bible verse can be interpreted 3 different ways. I mean, I think you can interpret it the same, but the way that it's written in 3 different versions is the reason why I did this today. Because like I said, my most recent book in the Bible that I read was 1 Corinthians. And if you know anything about Corinthians, the most famous part of that book is chapter 13 because it talks about love. You know, love is kind, love is it goes through the whole kit and caboodle when it comes to love. So I took one verse out of that and then I had it 3 different ways because I read the New International Version every morning. It's pretty much written in layman's terms with a lot of the ETH at the end of the words taken out. It's just an easier read than if you read like the King James Version or the English Standard Version. So I put it in there as New International Version, but I actually like the English Standard and the King James Version better because there's one word and you'll know exactly what the word is when I read it to you. But anyways, Bible verse comes from 1 Corinthians 13, verse 7, and says it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. And what we're talking about is love. Always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. In the English Standard Version, it's read as love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And then the King James Version is beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. And the reason why I like those 2 better, I like the word endure than I do the word persevere, right? You could argue that they mean the same thing, right? You persevere through hard times, you endure things. And maybe it's just Cam Haynes uses that word so eloquently, and that's the name of his book, Endure. But I do like, because if you just read this out of context, it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. You can be like, what does that even mean? Does it mean a dad, a mom, a grandma, a pet? It really means love. That's what's cool about the English Standard Version. It says love bears all things when it starts the verse off. So, but at the end of the day, we need some more love in this world. We live in a hateful world right now with just a bunch of bullshit going on, and everyone's angry all the time. No one's happy, and we just need a little bit more love. So if you have time, go get 1 Corinthians and read chapter 13. Read the whole chapter. It's not very long. It's only about half of 1 page in the Bible, and it talks about love. And of all the things, love is the greatest. So that's why I put that in there today.
Yeah, it was a great one. You're right. There's a lot of hate out there anywhere you look right now. It's pretty grim. You watch the news. It's just hate everywhere you go. The good thing is, though, boots on the ground. When you walk around the street, man, go to the store, walk through your neighborhood, you still have hope for society.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good people still out in this world. And those good people just need to keep pushing it forward. And hopefully that will prevail.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, like we were saying at the beginning of the show, we got a little bit of variety today. We have Caroline's birthday, famous numbers. We're in the Bible verse. Topic number 1, and this happened out of thin air last week. I was in the vehicle. It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And I heard a radio ad. And I said, that's interesting. And Andine looked at me and I looked at her and she goes, what kind of stupid ass world do we live in now? And I texted Dave and it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock his time. And I knew he wasn't going to see the text till the morning. Well, sure as shit, he texted me the next morning. And it was like 4 something in the morning my time, 6 something in the morning his time. And I could not believe it. And the text I sent to him, I'm going to read it right here. And then we're going to go right into it. Let's see. Find Dave. It says right here. I texted him. So it was 10 o'clock his time. I said, one sentence. I said, DoorDash has a MasterCard. Now has a MasterCard. That was it. So 5 o'clock the next morning, he goes, they offer their own MasterCard? I said, yep, 4% cash back on all DoorDash deliveries. So what did I do besides piss Dave off when he woke up to that text? Dave went down the rabbit.
Can of worms. You opened up a can of worms.
Dave went down the rabbit hole like 5 a.m. and started researching this credit card. So Dave, take it away from there, and let's just explain how whack of a society we live in right now.
It is. It's twisted. I mean, you can pretty much go anywhere, and everybody has their own credit card for you now with the most ridiculous point system and interest rates and all these things you got to do. But I specifically honed in on DoorDash here because that's what set it off, and I went from there. So the DoorDash MasterCard. So you get complimentary Dash Pass for 12 months, which is free delivery. So that's cool. Yeah, free deliveries. That's awesome. For 12 months. You get $100 cash back. That sounds great, right? $100 cash back when you open a card. Not so fast. You need to spend $500 in the first 3 months on DoorDash. It's not even like you can spend it on anything. It's on DoorDash. That's a lot of food. So not only are you too lazy to go out and get your food or cook your food, you can't even go pick up your food. Now you got to order it and have it brought to you. $500 in 3 months to get $100. That sounds like a hell of a deal to me. Does it sound like a hell of a deal to you?
Well, dude, that's $65 a week that you have to spend on DoorDash to get the 500. Wait, it's in 3 months?
3 months.
So that's $150. So it's like 40 bucks. 40 bucks. What is that? 40 times 12 is 480. So $45 a week you have to spend on DoorDash, on your DoorDash credit card to get the $100 back.
But just think, the interest rate on the card, though, I mean, that's the saving grace. The lowest the APR can be on that card is 19.99%. But it goes up to 28.74% depending on your credit worthiness. So there you go. DoorDash. Spend $500 in your first 3 months. You get $100 back. What a deal. And you get free deliveries on that $500 worth of food that you need to spend in the first 3 months. But you still got to pay taxes, fees, and all the other nonsense. So what are you really saving?
And you're getting 30% interest. There's the bonus you didn't mention. 30% interest.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what a deal! What a deal! So you could buy food.
Like, I just can't understand that. Like, first of all, you're too lazy. Like, you want to order food, whatever. Like, we don't go out to eat very often. Maybe once a month. Maybe once a month. It's probably more like once every 5-6 weeks. But anyways. You can't even go get it yourself. Oh, please don't give me that. Well, what if you don't have a car? Well, if you don't have a car, you probably shouldn't be ordering food on DoorDash. I'm just saying.
So I did it one time when I was in Austin with Uber Eats because it was a long day of work and then travel. And I got to the hotel and I just didn't feel like driving out in the city, so I'm going to do it. It took like an hour and 45 minutes to get my food. They kept telling me oh, it'll be here in 20 minutes. It'll be here in, now it's another 10 minutes. Now it's another 10 minutes. Now it's another 10 minutes. And then by the time I got it, the guy, I see it on the app, picks it up. He starts driving. And then it says he goes somewhere else first. He's going to pick somebody else's food up. By the time I got it, it was an hour and 45 minutes later. The shit was cold. I mean, ice cold. And the fees to do it were astronomical. I was like, I'll never do this ever again in my life. This was one of the worst experiences I've ever had.
Do you have
almost as bad as shopping at Lowe's?
Do you have to tip them, or is it built into the fees?
Oh yeah, you got to tip them too.
Oh, you don't. That's just.
Oh yeah.
I don't get it. I've never done it. I don't have Uber app. I don't have Uber Eats store. I don't.
What happened to the days where you just call a pizza place up and they'd come deliver your pie within 30 minutes, or it was free? And you get some teenage kid come squealing in the driveway. It's like Home Alone, man. Come in, knock the statue over, bring your pizzas up, give you the pizzas, and you're on your way.
It doesn't.
Those were the good old days.
It's just further cementing what this world is. They just want you to stay home and stay in your fucking hole and not go outside and not breathe. And it's crazy. It's just, I just heard that. And I was like, man, I can't believe that there's a DoorDash credit card now, and you can literally now $100 cash back, you spend $500. I mean, the whole thing to me is ridiculous. I think, the whole thing. I'm very old school though, so the whole DoorDash thing to me, good for whoever invented it, because they're obviously a bajillionaire. In Uber, they're a bajillionaire. In Uber Eats, you're a bajillionaire. Probably the same guy owns them all, or girl, or whoever. But the fact of the matter is, that's where we are as a society. I just don't comprehend it. If I want food, I make it. If I want to get food, I go get it. And because it was just pizza delivery, man. You just had Domino's and pizza when we were kids. And the old school pizza places in Torrington used to just, some of them delivered them, some of them didn't. They just wasn't part of their thing. If you ordered the food, you had to go get it.
Yep.
That's
great.
It's wild. You know
so
what? But those interest rates. Let's talk about that, because this is some of the effects of the Fed fund rate hikes that that people are experiencing now, and this is why people get buried in debt more and more and more. Because before all these Fed rate hikes, when they had interest rates down to zero, these credit cards were 13%, which is, I hate to use the word reasonable, but that was reasonable for back, where it was. But what people don't understand about these Fed rate hikes, this is what it does. It makes these rates of these credit cards go up. And that's why a few weeks ago, I put a video out on my work page. These credit cards are all above 20% now, and it's nuts. And no one has good credit anymore. So guaranteed you're on the higher end of that 19 to 28% than you are on the lower end of it. It's, and that's how it is for all credit cards now. All the credit card interest rates went way up.
Yeah, they did. They skyrocketed. I mean, you go to Home Depot. I mean, it's near 30% for a Home Depot card. There's a lot of them that are high. I mean, I got two others on the list here that once I started going down the rabbit hole, I figured I'd share, because most people want to talk about getting airline miles. How airline miles are their saving grace. I use my card for airline miles.
Yeah.
Where do you go on trips? I don't have time to travel. Cool.
Yeah.
So what are the airline miles? Yeah. So the one, I mean, I fly American most of the time when I'm going back and forth between Austin and wherever I am. And so they're always pushing the American Airlines City Card. So they always have 60,000 bonus miles. You, as our passenger today, have this special deal. They always come on the intercom and make you seem like you're royalty. We've got this special deal that nobody else is ever going to have. 60,000 bonus miles if you sign up, and usually you've got thousands of dollars that you have to spend, but you get a free check bag. You get a free check bag when you do that, and you get preferred boarding, which is super exciting for those that are looking to sit a few seats forward in the airplane. But the interest rate on those are only 20.99% up to 30%. So those go a little bit higher than even the DoorDash card. And Delta, they're about the same, except the Delta, you've got an annual fee you have to pay of $100, which is fun, but you get 75,000 bonus miles. So that's like, flying from Bradley to, I don't know, what would you say?
LaGuardia?
New Haven?
Yeah. Oh, I was being generous. I said LaGuardia.
You did. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid. So you got a $99 fee. Year two, your interest rate's 20.74 up to 29.74. But you only get those 75,000 bonus miles with Delta when you spend $2,000 on the card in the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's a big
Wow.
scam. People say 60,000 bonus miles, 75,000 bonus miles. Dude, you're like, man, if I get 60,000 bonus miles, I can fly back and forth across the country like 30 times. Of course I could.
No.
It's
One
60,
time.
dude, people, 60,000 miles is equivalent to like $60. It's not, you know what I mean? Don't ever think it's actual miles that you get to fly. You don't get, it's not miles, it's money.
So for every, all right. So how many miles, or I should say, how many dollars do you think you get in Delta credits for every $1,000 you spend?
Probably $7.
You get 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So for every $10,000 you spend, you get $100 in credits to use towards a flight.
1%.
So for $40,000, you can get a $400 flight. So dumb.
Dude, and listen, I will say this because this was part of my, getting out of credit card debt journey back, a few years ago. I was an asshole. I had a miles card. I thought it was the coolest thing when we moved to Arizona.
Yeah.
And Dean and I were like, we probably should get a miles card. We're going to be flying to Connecticut all the time. You know what I mean? Like it was this
all
big
the time
fucking thing all the time flying to Connecticut. And so what did I do? I went and got a fucking American Airlines Platinum card.
There you go.
With a $6,000 limit, and
you
let
never
me tell you
flew.
something. That motherfucker got, pardon my French, that thing got maxed out, and guess what? That minimum payment, I was like, dude, we flew to Connecticut a year ago. I'm still stroking a $250 check a month to fucking American Airlines credit card, and all the time that I had that thing, I spent $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on that stupid ass card. I got one flight one time, and it was one of the kids
Yeah.
got a seat to sit in. And
When
never make that mistake
when
again.
when you pay the interest on those cards over time, say you buy a trip, you buy, your case, 5 airline tickets. I mean, it wasn't then, but 5 airline tickets to Connecticut. Um, the amount of interest you pay, you could have taken your entire family on a trip to Europe by the time you're done
Oh
on
my
what that
gosh,
costs. It's
for
insane.
sure, dude. Dude.
So so when we started, so I continued to go down the rabbit hole. I didn't even tell you I went here. So I searched the worst. I wanted to see. So what are the worst cards out there for people? So there's a couple that popped up. So the worst store credit card. Any ideas? Any guesses? I'll give you one guess.
The worst.
You're never
the
going to
worst,
get it.
the worst store card.
Store credit card. So it could be like a Kohl's or a
Okay,
Victoria's
I'll
Secret
say
or Cabela's or whatever.
the worst store card is Best Buy.
Nope. Goodyear.
Okay. Goodyear tires.
Goodyear tire. So here you go. So they give you an introductory rate of 0% for the first 6 months.
Okay.
But if you mess up at all, if you miss a payment by one day, if you leave $1 in balance at the end of the 6 months, they charge you 30% on whatever your entire balance was during that 6 month span. So you might have $1 on there at the end of the 6 months. If you do, say you had $5,000, they charge you 30% on the $5,000. How's that?
That's the dumbest
Pretty
thing I've
good.
ever heard. How can that even?
Yeah.
How is that even legal?
Yeah. Don't know. But this is what people sign up for. Like 0% interest. I'm gonna buy all my tires on this card, and then I'm gonna pay them off in the next 6 months. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
What could go
Listen,
wrong? Well, that could go wrong.
Most people don't, unless you're like a really, really wealthy person where money is zero object to you. Most people, everyone's guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. You were guilty of it when you were in credit card debt. Everyone says, dude, I'll have this thing paid off, no problem. Nobody does. Nobody. My father is one of the very few, I don't know if your dad does it, that pays off their credit card in full every month.
Yeah. He does too.
But it is so few. And the other one is American Express. American Express, you have to pay your balance in full every fucking month.
Yeah.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine what they whack you.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, when we back in the day when we had credit cards and didn't know any better. Listen, folks, we're telling you this from experience.
Yeah.
It's happened to us. We've lived through it. And life is much better on the other side of it. I mean, I used to play the game. All right, I'm going to do a balance transfer here because that's going to give me a few months to pay it off. I'm going to do a balance transfer here. You can't borrow your way out of debt. You just can't do it. You've got to get out. You got to stop using the cards. That's the bottom line. And you got to get rid of them. You got to cut them up. You got to say no more ever again. Here's one more. I share one more card with you. It's a gold card from MasterCard. Now it's plated in 24 karat gold, which is phenomenal, right? You're walking around. You're like a baller. 24 karat gold card.
You're like my father-in-law.
20% interest, right? Yeah, he can make his own card. Take his gold and shave it off and make a card. Stamp it together.
Make some shillings.
But the kicker here is the annual fee on it is $995. But you get $200 in airfare credit every year. So, I mean, $1,000 to walk around with a 24 karat gold MasterCard. Man, living a good life.
It's and listen, Dave and I are not, once again, Dave just said it, but I'm going to reiterate this. Dave and I are not like trying to harp on you or make fun of you. We're just trying to have you wake up from two dads that had that experience. I know what it was like to be terrified of the phone to ring. I know what it's like to be terrified of going to the fucking mailbox. You never thought you in your whole life could be scared of a 2-inch by 4-inch by 12-inch fucking box until you're swamped in debt with nowhere to fucking go. Then all of a sudden the mailbox becomes fearful. Guess what I do now? I don't even check the fucking mailbox. I could care less. It's unbelievable.
There's a lot of bad feelings in this world that you have, especially as a parent. There's a lot of things that come up that give you just kind of that agita. One of the worst feelings I ever had is not knowing how I was going to buy my daughter a birthday present. because my cards were maxed. And this was Kendall when she was very young, because we started going through the process when she was 2, because we were out of debt by the time Bryce was with us. But I remember that's part of the thing. We had just redone our kitchen, all on credit cards. We had and we had maxed them out. We had car loans. We had all these sorts of loans, and we made good money. And it got to be around Kendall's birthday time, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to buy her a present, because all of our money was gone and the cards were maxed. And that was one of the lowest feelings I ever had, especially as a dad.
Yeah.
And so we say it from a place of love, from experience. And I know maybe you didn't get that low, but it can happen. And it's
we hope you never get that low.
Fighting your way out. Yeah, but it's well worth fighting your way out of it, because on the other side, it is so much better. And to not be giving your money, your hard-earned money that you go to your job for, you support your family with, to these credit card companies that aren't giving you shit. They're not giving you anything. Credit card companies don't lose. It's like banks; they don't lose.
Yeah.
If these things hurt them, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They're to draw you in, to sucker you in, to get you to spend money that you don't have on things you don't need. Okay, that's why they're doing it, because they know you're not going to pay off that thing in 6 months, and they're going to be able to charge you the full interest on your entire balance, whatever it was. They know that you're just going to pay the annual fee, and you're going to forget about it. They just know that you're going to carry that balance, because that's the way we live. Yeah. That's the way we live.
And it's
stupid.
And they fool you with Kevin Hart and Taylor Swift and Samuel L. Jackson on TV talking about credit cards, because these cool, idols. First of all, idolatry. Read it up, look it up in the Bible. It's like so stupid. But the other thing is, I want. You mentioned the turning point when you were like, shit, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get Kay a birthday present. And it was, the thing that, besides the mailbox fear that I had, for me, because it happened to me one time, I'll never forget the one time it happened to me. It was the fear of my wife going grocery shopping and not being able to buy groceries. That was the fear that I had, because I'll never forget one time I went to fucking Safeway and I swiped my Discover card and it got declined. And you want to talk about an embarrassing moment. I had a full grocery cart, full. Everything was run through the register. Everything was in bags, in the cart. And when I swiped the card, it was fucking declined. And I said, oh my God. Like, I literally was like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. And luckily, and it turned out to be a blessing and a curse, I swiped my debit card. But I knew, because we were so fucking strapped, I knew that I didn't have enough money in my debit card to pay for all those groceries. But the bank allowed the transaction to go through, and then what happened? I got whacked a fee for going below the fucking zero balance in the fucking checking. And that's when I said, just like you said, never. Someone that you know very, very well, and we're not going to talk about names, always says this: you need to get mad. When you get mad and you get your I had it moment, when you grind, dude, it changes everything. And that was me. I was like, I will never, ever, ever allow my wife to go grocery shopping or myself and say, no, we can't buy the fucking groceries. Fuck that. But that's why we're telling these. This show was not even supposed to be about credit card debt and what it does to you, but this is just us being real, and this is kind of how it went. We're telling you, like you said, out of experience, because we are full force fathers, and we want to not have you guys out there ever feel those things, or gals that are listening, right? I was in my Google Sheets earlier when I was putting show notes in for this show, and my oldest, Madison, uses my Google account if she needs to type up a doc or something. She uses Google Sheets or Google Docs. And I was in there, and it said, I forgot what the name of the thing she had in there was, but it was like plans or money, or it was the name of a sheet. I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, double clicked and open it. It's my computer. It's my Google. And she wrote like goals for life. Like, just, it's this random spreadsheet. Madison's very good at just making random spreadsheets of shit. And she put like, number 1, be a good person. Number 2, don't do drugs or drink. Number 3, be a good sibling. Number 4, follow Dave Ramsey's baby steps. Number 5, be good with money. She doesn't even know that I saw it. And I said to myself, I said, that little shit, she fucking listens. She fucking listens.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I was thinking
Good
to
for
myself,
her.
like, I'm not ever going to be worried about that kid. Never. Never once. Because she saw, because she was old enough, 5 years ago, she was, 8 going on 9 or whatever, 7 going on 8. She saw the pain. And that will be with her forever. And then she has an uncle like you that just fucking bam, bam, don't you dare. You know what I mean? And it's just, and it's all clicked. And it
I've
makes
got
me
a
feel.
I've got a birthday present plan. I got a birthday present plan perfect right now.
Yeah.
You just gave me a great idea.
Anyway, so like, guys, this was not supposed to be the way the show went, and we're going to continue on with other topics. But listen, this all started over bitching about DoorDash, the DoorDash MasterCard. Credit cards are fucking evil. I don't care what anybody fucking says about them. They are 100% evil. And 9 times out of 10, you will not pay that balance off in the 6 months or whatever 0% interest they give you, because you're going to say, oh, fuck, it's 0% interest. This is just like paying with cash. There's no interest. And before you know it, you're going to be fucked. And then you're going to be like, oh, shit. So another big story this week. I started finally, after years and years and years of wanting to do this, I finally started my running group now that we're back in Tucson. It is Monday Miles with me. Inaugural Monday was last week, and then I'm going to be doing it every other Monday moving forward. I'm going to use it as a, first of all, obviously for physical well-being for people, but mental, for Monday morning motivation to get people out of bed. It's hot in the summertime, get outside early. I'm doing it for networking, to build my base, because as you know me, I love nothing more than being around people and meeting people. So I'm just super, super stoked that I started at 7 runners show up for the initial Monday Miles, and I had 3 or 4 other ones send me a text, send me a message saying, hey, sorry I couldn't make the first one, I was out of town or this, but we will be there for the next one, which is super awesome, and I'm super stoked about it. Just getting outside, dude. It's my life mission, where we want to teach you about money and fitness. Well, the fitness side, as you guys know, is like, that's it for me, man. I just want to see as many people go outside and turn their life around. You don't have to be fat. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to be broke. You don't have to be any of those things. But it starts by just getting out of bed in the morning and fucking moving and moving, and always moving forward. So I wanted to throw that in the show. I started it. And now it's, dude, that's it, man. Full steam ahead now, moving forward. That thing, I'm going to grow that thing organically and naturally, and I'm going to change a fucking bunch. I'm going to change a bunch of lives for the better.
I love it. That's awesome. I'm so glad you got to start doing that. We had talked about that years ago, even before Full Force Fathers came about. When we were talking about things, it was, what can we do? And you were saying we got to get a group together, kind of like a BNI, and just get people that like to be outside, and different areas of life that we can all just kind of help each other and build relationships. So I'm really glad you got that going. That's fantastic. I just wish I was there to be a part of it.
Yeah, I know. I wish you were here too. That'd be fucking cool. That would be so cool. That would be so cool if you could be there. But what else is on here? Let's keep flying through these tabs. Oh, your dad's in town. How the hell's that going?
I know, my dad's in town. It's fantastic. It's awesome. I love hanging out with my dad. Denise is with him too. They're coming down. This is the first time they've been here since we bought the house, when it was just in complete shambles, boxes everywhere. So they've enjoyed some of the things we've done to the house. Of course, I had my dad help me on a couple things in the bathroom at this point, which is good as I wrap that project up. So always good for his expertise and eye there. It was interesting. I said to him before he came down, Bray, I said, I'm really looking forward to cooking for you guys over here, because I've been so locked into these renovations. I haven't had a chance to really like cook and smoke meat and all that stuff. So I was like, what's one thing, you want me to cook? He's like, well, I haven't never tried this tri-tip that you're always talking about. You and Brett are always talking about. So whipped him up a tri-tip over the weekend. That went perfect. So yeah, it's good. We're just hanging out, man, spending time, him and the kids, and going to the pool, and just enjoying the week together. It's fantastic.
That's awesome, man. I wish, I'm jealous, as you know, your dad likes to come visit you, and my dad's my best friend, but he's a little bit more stubborn when it comes to doing things like that. When last time I saw him, we drove across the country together back in February. It's funny because I tell you all the time, your dad likes me more than he likes you. Before he left, I called him and I talked to him for 20 minutes. We were talking about RVs and all that good stuff because we have that in common. I don't know where the hell you came from. Um, but and uh and then the funniest thing is, you're like, yeah, tell my dad to send you the video of he put a fireplace in his RV. And I said, he goes, but you're like, just be prepared. He probably won't respond because he's not good at responding to text messages. I said, okay. So I literally text your dad and I'm like, Mr. Fortin, you sent me a picture of that fireplace you put in the RV. Within 3 seconds, boom, video. I'm like, Dave, I thought you said he wasn't going to text me back, dude. Um, and you're like, oh, it's only because you guys talk RV with each other. I'm like, that's right, we talk RV. We talk about heck all the good things.
Important things.
Your dad's a great dude, and I think your dad. I think the world of your dad. He's an awesome guy. Give you the shirt off his back, and he's a pretty good. He's a pretty good phone call if you ever find yourself in any kind of mechanical conundrum, or you have a question or recommendation that's needed. You can always call him, and he'll be a straight shooter and tell you what he thinks. So,
yeah, no doubt about that.
But that's good. I'm glad you're having a good time, and there's that. But anyway, so Memorial Day was yesterday, so cookout and all the whole thing. I just wanted, to all those veterans out there, Memorial Day, they paid the ultimate price for the freedom in this country. So I just wanted to say thanks, to all the veterans out there, to anyone that's lost a member of the armed services protecting this country. I just wanted to touch on one memory of Memorial Day. I don't know if this is definitely not up your alley, but I just remember as a kid growing up, we always went to the Torrington. The Memorial Day parade was always a huge event in our small town that we grew up in. All the people would march, the veterans, the Elks Club and the VFW and all the kids in their, the little league uniforms would march down. And I always remember just always going, sitting by the YMCA with my dad, my grandfather, my aunt, my uncle, my sister, we'd always just go and take up the corner. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that if you go back in time for an hour or two, it's one of those things that is it's a great memory of Memorial Day always growing up. Because back where we grew up, remember, Memorial Day was always was the parade, and that was the kickstart to summer, dude. You were off. It was a Monday. Yeah. No, we still
used to always uncover the pool on Memorial Day weekend.
You always had a cookout and stuff like that.
If I could go back in time, it wouldn't be to a Memorial Day. I'm not a big parade fan. It might be Memorial Day, but not at the parade. Not a huge parade fan. The veterans and all those that march there, that's fantastic. What I don't like about it is the blowhards that got to get out there, the mayors and the Miss Pageant queens and all these different people that just feel like they got to get on a float so people can wave to them, feel good about themselves. That's the part I don't enjoy. So I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail for that. I don't really care. Parade's not my thing. My kids love the parades though, so inevitably I always end up at one. But
that was always one.
You just sit there and you bake in the sun. Yeah. You gotta get there and claim your territory, and then you get assholes that gotta crouch up next to you. You've been standing there for an hour waiting for your good spot, and then you get these people that come in 10 seconds before the parade starts and jam right next to you. That's the shit that just irritates the ever-living crap out of me.
Yeah, I get it. And that was the other thing when we left, because I don't know if I ever missed a Memorial Day parade growing up, all the way through the time that we left, because we grew up going to them, then we took our kids, Madison anyways, when they were young. But that was one thing about coming out west. I will say that about east, especially New England. There's a lot more unity in community in those little towns.
Oh, yeah.
Then when you come out west, everything's so open and so big. You're like, who the fuck, a Memorial Day parade? What the fuck is that? The kids are already out of school and half the people are out of town anyways,
Yeah, totally. It totally different experience in Arizona than it was in New England or even here in Tennessee. It is that smaller community feel, like a lot of more get-togethers and things where the community comes out together. As you're 100% right there.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's pretty much the show. 2 recommendations for you today. In honor of my first ever Monday Miles, and then the Girls Started Track Club last week. I went deep into the archives of one of my favorite athlete books, and it is called Iron War. Dave Scott, Mark Allen, and the Greatest Race Ever Run. So I'm going to give you the backstory of this book. That light is really bright. I don't know how to fix it. Right there. Iron War.
There you go. Nailed it.
Okay. Matt Fitzgerald wrote this book. So I'll give you a quick rundown. Dave Scott and Mark Allen, before Iron Man, it tells you about the history of Iron Man. It tells you this is like the beginning of like the great endurance feats of our time back in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, late 80s. So Dave Scott, if anyone doesn't know what Iron Man is, the original Iron Man is in the World Championship will always forever be in Hawaii. That's where it was founded by a former Navy guy. But Dave Scott was the greatest Ironman triathlete, dominant for a period of time. And Mark Allen always finished second to him. Always, always, always. He could never get over the fucking hump and beat Dave Scott. And Dave Scott was this burly, big, strong American guy that's just like, he looked like he was a blue collar guy. He beat you because he just fucking outworked you, right? He just would fucking, dude, he would get into that pain cave. He would just grind and grind and grind and grind. Mark Allen came along, and Mark Allen eventually, this book is about that race when Mark Allen finally overtook him and beat him, and went on to win, like, because I think, I don't remember, Dave Scott won like 5 or 6 in a row or something like that. And then when Mark Allen finally beat him, he won 5 or 6 in a row. But these guys dominated the sport for 12 to 15 years. But Mark Allen was more like the finesse guy, right? Young, strapping, good looking, had coaches, like things like Dave Scott never did. He just went out there and he just grinded and beat you. Mark Allen was all about, he was one of the first guys to get into the scientific stuff of what you eat and how you plan it and all that stuff. And finally he broke the fucking, his own personal curse and was able to beat Dave Scott. But this book, dude, if you want to be motivated to do something really fucking hard, like run a marathon, do a triathlon, anything of that nature, or you just want to read a really good story, it's a great story. It's a great book to know. And you also get a lot of history of Iron Man in there too. If you anyone that listens does triathlons or Ironmans or anything like that, you get a lot of great history of the sport too. But it gives you their backgrounds. It's just a really, really, really good book that will motivate you. If anything, it'll motivate you to go get off your ass and go for a walk. You know, that type of thing. And it's cool. So
That's
Iron
great.
War, go get it. It's got some pictures in there and stuff. You know, of them like racing back in the day and things like that. Anyways, that is the book. But I had a second recommendation today. And this is a podcast recommendation. Obviously, we want you to listen to our show. We love when you listen to our show. But there's a podcast just came out from the great Jocko Willink. If you don't know who Jocko Willink is, he's former lieutenant commander of the Navy SEALs in the SEAL teams. He's got Jocko Fuel. He's got a couple companies now, but he's got an amazing podcast. And a lot of people that I talk to, it's hard for them to listen to his podcast because all of his podcasts are like fucking 4 hours long because he like is as in-depth as they get when it comes to podcasts. You know, they're 3 hours, 4 hours long. And usually a lot of times he gets guys that write books down there and he reads a lot of the book through the podcast. But anyway, so this past week, episode number 386, Mike Glover. It is called Be Prepared. Mike Glover is a former Green Beret, Army Special Forces. And the book is called, he wrote a book that comes out June 6th. So next week the book comes out. And I'll have it hopefully right after that. And the book is called Be Prepared. And he just talks about, and he's not a fucking prepper. He's not a, doomsdayer like a lot of people that I know. He just wants you to be prepared. And he doesn't mean what the fuck happens, if the world ends, do you have a bunker and all this other bullshit? He looks at it just like, hey, if something happens, if there's a fire in your home, if there's a shooting somewhere, if all of a sudden you don't have any water or anything of those nature, like, are you prepared for just 2 days, 72 hours? It's situational awareness. Do you know your surroundings?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if a natural disaster strikes, a hurricane, monsoon, you get a freaking tornado in Tennessee? Like, do you have a communication system? Do you have a map with your kids and your wife? If the house catches on fire, do you know where the fuck to go? Do you know your neighbors? Like, being situationally aware is not the same as being a doomsday prepper. So it's a long lesson. So if you're out on a long run or you've got a long drive, or break it up, because it's one of those podcasts where you can like listen to 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 40 minutes there, and you pick it up. but it's called Be Prepared. It's Jocko podcast number 386. Go listen to it. It'll just if anything, it'll make you fucking think a little bit about your situation. Because one thing he talks about, and we've talked about shows, how complacent the United States is in general. Just how complacent people are. They just walk around aimlessly like this all day long.
All day.
So there's 2 recommendations. Fair More and Jocko podcast number 386.
Dig it. That was good. I'm going to go listen to the podcast.
Yeah. So Dave, you can take us home. This is episode 63. We appreciate you listening. Share the show. Tell your friends. Tell everybody. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah, everybody get out there. Continue to live the full force life. This was an episode that I didn't necessarily see coming the way that it did, but there's a lot of good tidbits in there. If you know somebody who's struggling with some of the things we were talking about earlier, share this with them. Let them hear the message. Again, we want to help as many fathers as we can. So continue to live the full force life. We'll see you next week.